time for a Bears Now mailbag. I'm Harrison Graham. Caleb or bust, says hashtag Bears. Is there a scenario where the Bears trade Teven Jenkins at the deadline? It's an interesting question. Obviously, I think we would all agree, regardless of what the reasons are, Tevin's having a little bit of a down year. Now, he hasn't been bad. I would say he's been average, slightly above average overall, but the last 2 years he was legitimately very good. I think the PFF grades bear that out. You compare those to the last couple years, they're definitely down. He's given up a couple sacks. I feel like he's not playing with as much violence and power overall, and I think that's showing in the run game grade there. Usually he's very high in that regard. He's been a little nicked up a couple times, but he's been healthy every game. That was the biggest concern coming into the year, but the whole thing was coming into this year, hey, can he play well enough to get an extension? Can he stay healthy enough? Well, he's been healthy enough. He hasn't missed a game yet, although he left the last game, so you could argue he's missed a game. But I don't think he's played good enough. And if he's declining as a player and you still have injury concerns, I think for now you'd have to say it's a fairly safe bet. If the season ended today, he would not be back next year. So could there be a situation where they get closer to the trade deadline and the Bears have come to a conclusion like, hey, we are not bringing him back? Well, what if a team calls and offers like a third or fourth round pick? Would you consider it? I think you'd only do it if A, you're completely out of the mix, like you're 3-5, 3-6 or whatever at the deadline, which I don't think they will be. Or B, you feel really good, like Ryan Bates comes back, has played, and looks really good. You've got Pryor, and maybe you feel okay about Nate Davis, who, give him credit, in the last game where Teven went out, he came in and at least held his own. I would bet against it, but is there a scenario? Yeah, I would say that's the scenario where the Bears have already decided they're not going to bring him back and maybe they can get a draft pick for him. What say you? Would you trade Teven Jenkins? Type T for trade or K for keep. I would probably keep him, but I wouldn't completely dismiss the possibility. Pinned comment on today's show, so if you get hit with the YouTube ad break, answer by typing T for trade or K for keep. Bears goated. What has happened to Tyler Scott? It's a really good question. I think it's pretty simple. They like DeAndre Carter more, so he's their fifth receiver. Even when Keenan Allen was out, Carter was getting all those snaps along with Rome Odunze and DJ Moore, so he's just buried on the depth chart. It's a little disappointing. I don't know if they're misusing personnel or if Carter's just better. I'll say this. When Carter was getting targets, good things were happening. If anything, maybe Carter should get a few more snaps, even with Keenan Allen back. So I like Tyler Scott. I like his speed and vertical ability, but clearly he's behind the other guys, or at least the Bears think so right now. Matty Boy, if the Bears are 3-3 heading into the bye, hopefully they're 4-2, are we trading Keenan? Lots of interior O-linemen out there. I don't know. Peter Schrager mentioned Keenan Allen as a possibility for the Chiefs if they wanted to reach out. Whether or not the Bears would actually do that, I'm not sure. Obviously, Keenan has not had a lot of production this year. He missed 2 games. He's been dealing with the heel issue. So let's see how he plays the next few weeks. But, yeah, obviously you're hoping to get more out of him. Now, is there like a legitimate starter you can one-for-one swap Keenan Allen for? It's hard to say because any team trading for Keenan Allen, are they going to trade you a starting caliber guard to get him? I find that a little hard to believe considering offensive line play is down across the NFL. So, yeah, feels like a tough one there, if we're being completely honest. Subscribe and join us for our Bears versus Panthers watch party this Sunday, 10:45 a.m. Central Time. We will be live here on the channel, getting you ready for kickoff at noon, and, of course, our live reactions throughout the game, followed by a post-game show. Busy, long day. Join us as the Bears look to improve to 3-2 on the season. Wasim, do you think Chris Morgan survives the season? I mean, they're probably not going to fire him mid-season unless they lose a couple of really ugly games and the O-line is really bad. Obviously, I don't think the O-line's been very good, but at this point, I wouldn't expect a mid-season firing. A. Dominguez, who are the top interior offensive linemen free agents available in 2025? Well, I know that Bleacher Report linked Zack Martin to the Bears for next year. The Cowboys veteran, he's a free agent now. he's getting older at this point in his career. Would he want to move to a new team, move his family, and keep playing for a new organization? I don't know. He's in his early 30s now, but that'd be a guy I'd throw a lot of money at. Like 2 years, $40 million. Like, I'd give him $20 million a year to be my right or left guard. So he's a guy I would take a look at. I'd have to go look at a longer list, but he's someone that stands out for sure. Pick up a Rome Odunze jersey today at chatsports.com/Rome. Get one available right now at chatsports.com/Rome. Link is in the comments and in the description of this video. Go represent number 15. Captain Bears hype man, what position of need would be worth that Carolina second? I mean, I think if you could get a high-level starting offensive lineman that's controllable. I would not do it on a 30-plus-year-old that's a rental or on the downside of his career. Like I mentioned on our Bears trade targets video, which we'll do more of, like Brandon Scherf, he's 33. You're not trading a second for that, right? Like that's a day 3 pick type of situation. But if there's a guy in his 20s that's available, that's a high-level player that could be a starter for years to come, then yeah, I think it would be something like that. That or a premier pass rusher. The defensive line's been better than expected, but they could still add a piece there. That would be another area I would consider a day 2 pick. Lacora, top 3 Bears players candidates to trade away. I'd say Khalil Herbert stands out. I don't think you'd get much for him, but late round pick maybe. Could you get something for Velus Jones at the end of training camp? Something was there, but he'd be another one. I mean, would you trade Tyler Scott? Would a team trade something for him? Teven Jenkins, who we talked about earlier, is he a possibility? Keenan Allen, if things went really south, but I don't expect that to be the case. Beyond that, I'm not really sure. I don't think the Bears are going to trade any of their good young players. So, yeah, those are a few guys that there's at least a small chance they could trade away. Predict the score of Bears versus Panthers. Who wins? What is the final score going to be? Drop your score predictions down in the comment section below. I got Bears 27-16. What say you? Got time for a few more here. Robert Ratcliffe, does Bates start when he is cleared to return? I said after the Panthers game or the Rams game, I wouldn't force Coleman Shelton out of there just for the QB center continuity. He was pretty bad against the Rams on further review, so I don't think you just give that job to Bates, but I think you'd have to be open to the competition again at least, because Shelton has just not played well. I don't think it's a given, Robert, but I think you'd let him compete there, and then maybe let him compete with Matt Pryor, right, who has filled in for Nate Davis. Maybe you open that competition. They clearly value Ryan Bates. They like him. I think you'd want to at least give him opportunities to compete for snaps. Mike Franz, after seeing how well Minnesota and Detroit have been playing, does that make you any more nervous when Chicago plays them? I mean, yeah, like I picked them to sweep Minnesota before the year. If they split them, I'd be pretty happy right now. Minnesota looks like a top 3 team in the NFL through the first month. The thing about Detroit is you could score on Detroit. That's clear. That was clear last year. It's clear again this year. I think I'd rather play Detroit than Minnesota right now because the Bears' defense has given them some trouble in the past, and offensively they've been able to move the ball on them. Now, obviously, it's a new quarterback, some different pieces, but those are not going to be easy games. Packers aren't going to be easy games. I mean, if you told me right now you went 3-3 against the North, probably take it. I mean, that means you're 5-5, and you got to go 5-3 over your other 8 games, which include games like the Panthers this weekend, the Patriots, the Cardinals. So, yeah, if you told me I could sign up for a 3-3 split in this division with how brutal it is, I might just take it. William Bomer, pick a head coach candidate, Zac Taylor or Doug Pederson if Eberflus is gone. Like if they both get fired from their current situations, no interest in Doug. I think, obviously he won a Super Bowl, but that would feel very John Fox to me. Like third stop, let's bring him in here. No, I'm not doing that. Zac Taylor's intriguing. I think we probably overvalued how good he is, but he's an offensive guy that can call plays. I would have some interest there. I mean, they made a Super Bowl and an AFC Championship game recently, so I don't think he's a bum by any means, but maybe Cincinnati makes a shift. I'd interview him for sure. Doug, not interested. Buff Cartier official, can we get final Caleb Williams stats? Like, for the season? I mean, he's just under 800 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 picks right now. I mean, if you told me he threw for mid-3,000s and, I don't know, 20 touchdowns to 14, 15 picks, I'd probably take it. It'd be a little less than what I would have hoped for heading into the season, but offense was a mess for the first few weeks, so you're kind of playing catch-up in terms of volume stats. John Doe, can we get a college O-line mock draft? Just do all linemen. I'll tell you this. We will have a mock draft in the near future. At the latest, it'll be during the Bears bye week, which would be the week after next. Potentially one next week, especially if they lose to Carolina. That's definitely on the table. Yeah, we will have a mock draft soon, and I feel pretty confident there will be some offensive linemen taken in it. All right, there you have it. Bears Now Mailbag. If you have any more questions that we didn't get to, you know where to find me on social media, at HGramNFL, Twitter, Instagram, same handle, 2 different places. Hit us up at HGramNFL. If you got any Bears, NFL, college football, life questions, conversation, we're ready to go at HGramNFL.